Boast Busters is well known for exactly one reason. It introduces the great and powerful Trixie. In the episode, Trixie is introduced as a traveling magician who makes exaggerated claims about her supposedly great achievements, and on top of it, she's kind of an asshole. This leads to several of the main characters getting annoyed and challenging her to see if she can actually live up to her claims. Her biggest claim, however, is that she once defeated an Ursa Major, a creature so powerful that no one else in the history of Equestria has ever defeated one. This ultimately leads to two of her unwitting supporters going to find what they think is an Ursa Major and bringing it back to Ponyville so Trixie can fight it. There's a lot to be said both for and against Trixie here. In her defense, Trixie is a performer putting on a show. Yes, she tells a bunch of ridiculously exaggerated stories and then follows them up with really cheap-looking parlor tricks, but that's the point. It's an act. Plus, her stage name labels her as being great and powerful, so it would actually be pretty unusual if she didn't make claims of being great and powerful. If anything, this actually makes the main cast look pretty immature for taking her seriously and trying to challenge her during her own show. Having said that, I can also say in Trixie's defense that she doesn't back down from the challenges either. I'll admit that her tricks do come off as being mean-spirited, but in the end she doesn't really do anything beyond making the other ponies eat some arguably deserved humble pie. And past that, she doesn't really do anything bad. She doesn't hurt anyone, she doesn't destroy any property, she doesn't bring an Ursa Major into town, and she doesn't tell anyone else to bring an Ursa Major into town either. There are only two things that Trixie does that put her in a decidedly bad light. The first thing is that she keeps up her stage personality when she's not on stage. This is a problem because, like I said before, stage Trixie is an asshole. She even treats her fans like dirt, and that's just not cool, though I'm really not sure how sorry I can feel for them if they just keep coming back for more. The only time she ever drops her stuck-up attitude is when she's faced with the Ursa. This kind of hints at the idea that there's a real personality somewhere in there that we didn't really see very much, but more likely, and more depressingly, it suggests that she really is just as mean and stuck up as she lets on. The other questionable thing that Trixie does is run away at the end. The others begrudgingly let her go, hoping that one day she'll learn her lesson. What lesson? I mean, sure, she needs to learn to not be an asshole, but otherwise she didn't do anything. Twilight herself said that Snips and Snails were to blame for bringing the Ursa. I guess the lesson was not to boast about yourself, but all Trixie had to say to defend herself was, "I'm a performer." Haven't any of you seen a show before? It's common sense. The idea that she ran away rather than simply stating that one fact doesn't make much sense, especially since she already has a history of facing all of her challenges up until now. Trixie's actions here seem forced for the sake of making her look like more of a bad guy and justifying the moral, and because of that, the moral itself feels forced. But even though Trixie was shoehorned into the role of a stereotypical villain, there are a lot of fans out there who see potential for the character, and while I myself am not a fan of Trixie, I do see this episode as something of a missed opportunity, and perhaps it will be answered for in a future episode.